welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we're talking about Gunpowder Milkshake, the Netflix movie.
Kapow, so tasty.
Yes, yum, 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 yum. But first, Dan, did you like anything this week?
I do. I have a few things that I enjoyed. Like we talked a little bit about before, some theater has been opening up, so I went and saw The Green Knight, which is written and directed by David Lowery. And it was kind of funny when I was watching it the whole time. I was like, I thought for some reason that maybe it was made by Alex Garland because it looked very much like a movie he's made in the past. And the soundtrack / the score sounded exactly like Annihilation, which it turned out it was a different person. I looked it up. And then, like I said, yeah, it was actually made by a guy named David Lowery, who's made some other stuff before. But I really enjoyed it. It's hard to recommend to people, though. It's like 2 hours long. It very much reminded me a lot of like, say, Apocalypse Now or Hostiles, which I both really enjoyed, where it's like a vignette of something completely terrible. And then there'll be like a little intermission, and it's obviously all scenes and stuff like that. But then it's like to give you a moment and then another vignette of something horrible
Nice.
for 2 hours.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you're not into that, not a movie for you.
That's fair. I'll probably avoid it.
I don't know. Like I said, it was very enjoyable and well made. So I do recommend it. And yeah, maybe not a theater watch, but maybe in your own home so you could kind of pace it a little bit out or take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I also finally finished season 2 of Legend of Korra.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've been trying to catch up on that. I actually really enjoyed season 2. I've never really looked too much. I've heard people kind of down on Legend of Korra, but like I said previously, I watched season 1 like ages ago, finally trying to get a little more into it. And so far I've enjoyed both seasons. I actually really liked season 2. It kind of delved into some more spiritual sides of the Avatar universe. So yeah, enjoyed that. The animation, of course, is great. So
Cool.
plan on moving on to that further. And then I also read, because again, almost on a whim, I was kind of just like, can I get this book? And I read Axiom Ends by Lindsay Ellis.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How is it?
It was good. I enjoyed the book. What I was trying to figure out was, of course, like, who was it meant for? Because
Isn't it YA?
I wasn't sure because the character, like the main protagonist character, she's a college student. So she's not like, your teenage protagonist, but she's in her 20s. But then like story structure wise, like I was way ahead of the book. And that's,
Okay.
That's fine. That's how books are sometimes because, characters reveal things or whatever. But it was like things. And maybe because I've consumed a ton of media and read a ton of books, of course, that it was like things she was talking about in early chapters. So I was like, all right, so this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And I was correct. Right.
Nice.
But I didn't not enjoy my time getting from A to B. And yeah, I thought it was kind of cool and a neat idea. Like she says herself that, of course, she was heavily influenced by Transformers. And that's kind of it. It's kind of I thought it was a neat take on an alien species arriving on Earth and a first contact type story. So yeah, I would actually recommend. And I think she wrote a sequel that's coming out sometime, or maybe it's already out. I don't know.
I believe it comes out in September.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I plan on reading the sequel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious about it. I hadn't really heard anything about the book except from her,
Yeah.
promoting it.
Yeah, myself as well. I think I saw like maybe a couple small blurbs here and there, like not super positive, not super negative, but I was kind of like, I'll just check this out. Why not? It wasn't like I said, it wasn't the most difficult read, not too long. I think it was like a 300 pager kind of thing. So yeah,
nice.
I don't know. It was kind of something different, and I did enjoy it.
I think it's supposed to be a trilogy, but I could be making that up.
No, that sounds probably about right. I mean, I could see something like this kind of going a trilogy the way it ended, the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but that's it for me. What about yourself, Devin? Got anything you want to highlight?
Not a lot, because I've been mostly focused on school. But I did watch season 3 of Glow Up, which is a makeup reality show on Netflix, and it was pretty good.
Nice.
Some of the stuff they do is just like insane. I like watching it for like the artistry, you know?
Sorry to interrupt here. Is it kind of like, is it just that they're trying to go for like more glam, or like are they taking people and then being like, here's like a sweet makeup job on them, or are they like, hey, we're doing like a monster makeup theme or something?
So they start with like I don't know, 10 or whatever contestants, makeup artists. And each week they do an industry challenge and then a creative challenge.
Right.
So the industry challenges are always really interesting because they'll do stuff like they'll take them to like a Broadway production. Like in the first season, I think they went to Kinky Boots, and they had to reproduce like a specific makeup look exactly just based on a picture. Like they didn't get any instruction. It was just like a photograph that they have to like match it exactly on their model.
Okay, yeah.
And then so then the top person usually either gets an advantage in the creative challenge, or they get to like work on whatever their industry challenge was.
Okay,
so like
yeah.
the person that won the Kinky Boots challenge got to like help out do makeup for that show for the evening. Like they've done like TV shows, right, where they get to help out on set. So they kind of get some like real experience in the industry.
Yeah.
For the creative challenge, the two people who did the worst, they go in the red chairs instead of the blue chairs, and they get 15 minutes less to do the makeup look.
Oh, really?
And they have to like knock it out of the park in order to get out of that seat, because the two bottom people at the end of the creative do like a very specific technical challenge where they each, there's like twins, and they each get a twin, and they have to do like a very specific like winged eyeliner or glitter lip or something like that, and they have to do it in like 15 minutes. So it's really interesting. It's really cool to watch. The creative like challenge is obviously my favorite. Like the stuff people do is just insane. It's so cool. For one of them, the creative challenge was to be like to take inspiration from like an artist. So like two people did Bowie looks. There's some other looks, but then this one girl did like a Geiger look.
Oh, nice.
It was so cool. Yeah, she ended up winning that season. That was season 2. But yeah, it's like really cool. I like it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
And sorry, how many episodes in like a season?
Or like 10, or like enough that one person gets eliminated every episode.
Right. So probably like a 10-ish kind of situation.
Yeah, it was cool in season 3 because they had to do like a master class about makeup in like whatever they choose kind of thing. But so they had like a bunch of industry leaders at this master class, and one of the girls, she didn't win the season, but she ended up getting like 4 job offers.
Oh, wow.
From her master class. Yeah. So it's cool, right? It's like it feels like they're setting them up to do well in their field. It feels like a little bit less exploitative than some other reality shows.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's like you said, this sounds like they're, getting them that experience, but also hands-on or opening some doors.
And when they give feedback, they're not like, oh, I don't like it, it's ugly. They're like, oh, you know what? I was watching you work and you used a very small brush, and I would use a bigger brush next time and then go in with a smaller one for details.
Right.
That's time management. Like, it's very specific, and I like it.
Cool.
Yeah. And then other than that, not much. I mean, I started listening to The Friendship Onion, which is a podcast by Merry and Pippin from Lord of the Rings, and it's pretty good. Yep. That's it. That's all I got.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess we should talk about the gunpowder and the milkshake.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Okay.
What are your initial thoughts on this movie? Because I don't think we've even talked about whether or not we thought it was good yet.
Well, my one note to you, of course, was not enough neon.
Yeah.
Which is true, because I was like, this movie was going full neon, and then it fell by the wayside, and I was like, no, more vaporwave neon. Actually, I enjoyed it overall, and I just thought it had some cool action set pieces and a simple story to kind of keep it going. I do have some qualms or some detractions about it overall, but yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it, and yeah, I thought it was some good fun. What about yourself?
Okay, so I'm gonna say something, but I don't really mean it in like a negative way, because I also enjoyed the movie and I had a good time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was like the height of cinema or anything like that.
No.
But it was like a fun movie. But I really got the vibes that this movie came about because an executive went up to somebody, like a boardroom full of writers, and was like, hey, what if we made John Wick but with a lady?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Like it didn't feel like this was somebody's passion project or an idea that they had for a really long time, or even that it was really an idea that got developed further than John Wick but a girl.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen some comparisons online about it, and even you said you were like, "Hey, we should watch this movie. It's Lady John Wick."
Yeah, good point. But that's what it felt like. It almost felt like fan fiction a little
Right.
bit. Like, what if I rewrote John Wick but with a lady? And it's not to say that it isn't enjoyable. It's a bit like, it's like whipping cream. Like, it's tasty, but like that's all it is.
Yeah, that's true. There's not a lot of substance. There's something going on beneath it. Yeah, because here was my main kind of oddity problemish with the movie, is that it felt super odd that they had the two different spoilers, of course, sorry, what I wanted to say, but the two different like antagonist storylines, because it seemed like one or the other was enough to carry a movie where, okay, she gets goons and people get sent out after her from the firm, and she has to kill them all to save the girl and stay alive. That's a movie. She kills the wrong Russian kid mob guy. They go after her. That's a movie, right?
Oh, I see what you mean. That didn't bother me so much, but
It bothered me a lot.
do you know what did bother me though? Is that the mother-daughter storyline felt very forced.
Yeah, I have one of my notes here is that if like I was surprised that Lena Heady returned, because I would have been fine if she never came back in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's her motivation to protect the little girl. She was abandoned as a little girl. She doesn't want to do that to this little girl. Got it. Right?
Yeah.
So
right.
I was also kind of like, oh, Lena Headey's still in this movie?
Yeah, I felt like it was. So, like, okay, I don't. I think it's hard to talk about this movie without comparing it to John Wick.
Okay.
But I feel like in John Wick, they really successfully showed why he was upset that his dog gets killed.
Sure.
And like they did a really good job of like attaching a lot of like emotional baggage to this dog and have it kind of be a proxy for his wife, and like that he's not dealing with his grief properly and blah blah blah, right? Like
Yeah.
he needs therapy, not violence. But violence is all he has.
Quite true.
So in this one, I like I didn't feel anything about the mom. Like, I didn't feel like there was really a connection between them. Like, I felt like the actors didn't really have that great of chemistry. I kind of felt like all the background stuff with the mom didn't need to be in there. I would have been fine with the movie just being like, I don't want to kill a little girl or abandon her. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying too. Like, I was surprised she came back because it was like not needed really for her to come back in the movie, because it was like the motivation was set up. It was like she got abandoned. She doesn't want to abandon a little girl. Got it.
Well, I didn't think that anything to do with the mom needed to be in there.
Fair enough.
At all. Like, even the flashbacks.
Yeah. The flashback was funny because on the second time when I was watching it, I was like, this still feels like it's almost like it should have either been the start of the movie or not.
Or later on. It was a weird point to introduce it, right?
Yeah. It seemed like that way to me. But I was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know all film editing technique, of course, but it just seemed like in an odd spot. I agree with your assessment.
Also, like, just in general, going scene to scene in this movie feels very clunky. Like, anytime you're in a fight scene or you're in the scene, it feels fine and good. But, like, moving from one point to another point, it never seemed to be, like, quite right to me. There was something that was, like, off kilter about it. Like, either there was like a missing transition shot, or I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know, it felt very like a bag of rocks. You know?
Well, it could be, of course, because the movie is supposed to take place like over one evening.
I don't think that's it. I think that it just doesn't transition well. And I wish I could give a better explanation than that. But it feels like they shot a bunch of scenes without knowing what the whole plot was.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, like many movies that could have storyboarded and had these cool action ideas, but not sure how to get from one to the other.
Yeah, like it felt like, hey, let's do a really cool fight scene in a bowling alley. And we're going to have her, you know, change her clothes and use a locker. And there's going to be guys in masks. It's like, okay. Why? And it's like, doesn't matter. We're just going to shoot it.
Yeah.
And then the editing team just had like 100 shots of like that, like 100 scenes like that. And then they're like, well, it kind of makes sense if we put it together this way. That's what it felt like to me.
Fair enough.
And I say that it's a lot of negative, but I did enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it as well.
And I guess if I'm going to say a bunch of negative stuff, I'm going to say some positive things.
Mm-hmm.
I would watch an entire movie about the librarians.
Yeah, I mean, that's not surprising.
They were the coolest part. I totally want a movie about like 3, you know, middle-aged women who run the coolest fucking library of life.
Yeah.
And also get in gunfights. That sounds great. That was a movie.
Yeah, but that's part of the world building, right? That they're trying to build a la John Wick, like you say, this heightened world of assassins around us.
Yeah, there's just assassins everywhere.
Yeah. So to mention, of course, so it's directed by a man or person, named Navat Papushadau, sorry. I'm sure I pronounced that incorrectly. Okay. And they also wrote it with someone else named Ehud Lavsky. So the two of them wrote it, and this was kind of interesting. It has a budget of $30 million.
Whoa.
Which, yeah, it's very comparable to the first John Wick, because the first John Wick had a budget of $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you know, the extra 10 has to come from the rest of the cast, because there's a lot of names above the title.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah. But because everything else is pretty minimalist about it, like the sets and the goons and the locations, it's kept minimal, but still very effective.
Yeah, it definitely has a cool feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm looking at what else this director has done. Nothing has oh no, he has done stuff.
I think there was some TV, if I recall looking.
ABCs of Death 2.
Nice.
Specifically the segment F is for Falling.
Sure.
Big Bad Wolves and Rabies. That's it.
All right, some high quality stuff there.
And then he wrote all the other things as well as South of Heaven. Oh, so he's a pretty new guy, it seems like.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, okay.
But the cast isn't. You got some veterans in there, as you said.
Yeah. But I'm also going to look at this. Karen Gillan was great in it.
Sure.
You don't think so?
No, I do. I liked her in it. I enjoyed her performance, and I like that she got to use some of those nebula skills in the library fight.
Yep. Also, Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, and Carla. How do you say Carla's last name?
Gugino, I guess.
Yeah, they were great as the librarians.
For me, it was funny because I didn't know who was in this movie. I only knew, of course, Karen Gillan was in it. But when they cut to that behind the headshot of Carla Gugino, I was just like, immediately I was like, is that Carla Gugino? And then when they do the reverse, I was like, oh, it is. I don't know why. I don't know how I just knew it was like she was sitting so prim and proper in her neck and everything. I was like, it looks like Carla Gugino.
I recognize her, but I don't know what I recognize her from.
Oh, she's been in a ton of stuff. She's been in like Sin City, and she was in like Gerald's Game, and yeah, she's been in a whole lot of stuff.
Who is she in Sin City?
She was one of the women who gets her hand chopped off.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she's been in a bunch of stuff.
Oh, that's cool. She's so great in this.
Yeah, she's quite good. Which is too bad that she's the one who dies.
I know. Womp womp.
Because I don't know, for me, and I don't know if you felt this, Angela Bassett's performance I thought was weird. But I thought maybe because the whole time she was trying to come off as like the hard ass, and maybe I was just not into it. I don't know. Just for me, I was kind of like, this is weird, but everyone else was really like kind of natural.
Okay, so here's the thing. Did you get like gay vibes from them, or am I just projecting? Because I want everybody to be gay.
I assumed that there was relationships and not just like, hey, we're good friends relationships.
Yeah, because like Michelle and Carla were obviously a couple.
Yes.
But like, did you get that Angela and Lena were also?
That's what I assumed because of the very much hatred and like the jilted lover kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting, but I was also kind of like, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, they don't like come out. It's dumb because they don't come out and say it. They just kind of hint at it and like, just be gay if you want them to be gay.
Yeah.
We need more gay in movies, so just do it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just have Hollywood from the mannequin to fall back on people.
Or, as you said, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I was getting that vibe as well, but again, it was not what was being explored, and maybe in the sequel they'll do that. I don't know.
Oh, are they doing a sequel?
Yeah, or it was something I was going to talk about later, but they did announce in July, actually, that they are in development of a sequel.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if they'll do a crossover with John Wick.
I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
The universes don't kind of...
What's that?
I said the universes don't kind of mesh, but then they kind of could.
They could mesh.
Yeah, well...
assassins, it's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Like John Wick is a little bit, like, his universe is a little bit more sophisticated, but that doesn't mean that there's not room for, like, other assassin families.
No. Yeah, no.
Maybe Paul Giamatti's part of that, the thing that the other guys are part of. I can't remember anything.
Well, good thing we're talking about a movie.
No, in John Wick where there's the hotel and there's the table and there's all these assassins. What are they called? All the assassins.
I think they're just called assassins.
Yeah, but they're they have a code or whatever.
Yeah, well, I think like you said, there's the table and the leaders, but in this one, the firm is not really running the assassins, but kind of is. Doesn't sound like it is. Yeah, I didn't
really understand you don't have to understand anything in this movie to enjoy it. It's okay. But I didn't understand what the purpose of the firm was.
It just sounded to me like it was just a bunch of the Illuminati types, and they control everything. And there are these groups of assassins, the librarians specifically, and the diner and stuff like that. And that it's that they utilize. The
diner wasn't assassins. The diner was a safe zone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But the diner is part of that world.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, and it's they know about the diner, and the librarians, are assassins that they utilize from time to time.
Right. And I guess Paul Giamatti was just middle management.
Yeah, and it sounds like, of course, because he took Sam under his wing, that he kind of stole her away from the librarians, and then instead of her being a free agent, she was the firm's personal assassin at this point.
Right.
That's kind of what I was kind of headcanoning, I guess, that it's that's why they were wanted her back, get the money, etc., etc.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't have the answers.
I was just thinking about the fight scene at the hospital or doctor's office was so great.
Yeah.
Because the doctor gives her basically a shot that makes it so that she can't really use her limbs. And
her arms specifically.
Yeah, her arms specifically, and then she has to fight these 3 assassins that she's already beat up once, so they're in wheelchairs and on crutches and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so great.
I know, I have a note about it. I actually really like that hospital encounter because a lot of times in movies there's always there is a power imbalance between the two fighting forces, and it's usually the protagonist is hurt in some way, but in this they're both messed up in some way.
Everybody's hurt.
Yeah, so everybody was hurt in a different way, so they're just she's flailing her arms and they're trying to kick their shotguns into position and stuff like that.
And then the car chase scene that happens after that was really good and tense too.
Yeah, it was very unexpected. I was not expecting the car chase to happen. So I was pleasantly surprised and really enjoyed it. The only thing I thought was a little far is her car was adamantium, it was very invulnerable.
Yeah, I just assumed that she had her car reinforced because she's an assassin. That's what I had decided. Sure,
I could believe that, but it was she's crashing into things and 0 damage.
Yeah.
And I was that's a little far. Because she tells the girl, she's don't worry about the bullets. And I was okay, she's bulletproof reinforcement. Got that. But then they're still just smash. I was okay, whoa. Her headlights were fine after being shot up. And I'm that's a little far.
Her headlights are bulletproof.
That's okay. That's fair. All explained. But yes, I agree. It was a cool scene and it was tense and it was fun. I was not expecting a fun car chase.
No, me neither. And I was expecting them to drop the being unable to move her arms right away.
Right.
But they kept it going.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool.
Yeah, and just to flash back, like you were saying with the bowling alley fight, which was a lot of fun, well shot, good shadow stuff, right? And it's when she goes and there's these 3 just kidnapper dudes who are outside of the whole world of assassination and everything, and then they see her take down all those guys, and I like that there was reactions from them being wait, who the hell is this lady?
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we should go over the plot or whatever?
Yeah, if you want. I was just kind of going through my notes are kind of chronological, and we were just kind of up to after the car chase. We could just kind of go from there, unless you really wanted to dive into this.
No.
All right.
I think your idea is good.
Yeah, because like I said...
Guide the way, Dan. Guide the way.
Oh, well, after that, she did receive a text from Paul Giamatti because he is like, hey, you've gone too far. Now you're cut off. And but he sends her a text being like, because he's raised her for the last like 15 years or whatever. And he's like, hey, go to this address. There's a package for you. And he goes, and it's her mom.
Yeah. Mummy dearest.
Yeah. And like I said, yeah, I just wasn't expecting her to show back up. And they have a few minutes together, but then they're attacked by some Russians.
It was very entertaining and unexpected when they're trying to leave through the elevator and the door opens and it's all the dudes are there.
Yeah.
And then because she still doesn't quite have control of her hands, she ends up throwing her gun at them.
Yeah.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, it was a good comedy bit. And actually, I was going to say, I did enjoy... There was some good, fun comedy bit interaction with her in that elevator, of course. And when they're leaving through the dryer, and she's like, well, where's it going? She's like, it goes to Narnia, whatever. Like, just come on.
Yeah, that was good.
So I thought there was some good interaction there. Yeah, and then it basically it kind of really wraps up quickly despite... Well, not wraps up, but it's like, this is like the climax because they go from there to the library where we get the three librarians back in the movie and we get a literal busload full of goons. Just always kind of like, just a joke that it's like, there's a busload full of goons. It's like, nope, literal busload of goons.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Okay, listen, we have to talk about the kids part of the library, the like enchanted forest and shipwreck areas. I mean, how cool would that be? I would never leave the library as an adult, let alone as a child. I would live there. That was the coolest fucking set I've ever seen in my life. Yeah,
they were both really well built. And even the library itself, I assume, either they replicated or because they destroy a bunch of it. So
they hide behind like the checkout desk or the main desk. Mm-hmm. And there's like, stuff you'd expect to see there. And then there was the cutest little tea set.
And also some nightsticks.
Yeah, also some nightsticks, but it made me want to be a librarian there. I would just go hang out in the enchanted forest, and then I'd come down and I'd drink tea, and then I'd spend the rest of the day in the shipwreck area.
You'd have your routine.
Yeah, that's what I would do every single day, because why wouldn't you? So it was a great backdrop for, fight scenes.
Yeah, and before that, like you said, you get that interaction with the four of them, plus Sam and stuff like that, and they obviously all have a history. And I don't know, it was just kind of weird the way it was like, so Sam's like, you guys go, this is my problem, I screwed this up, I'll buy you time, you all get away. Then they all are like, one by one, eventually, Lena Heady's like, no, I gotta go back. She's my kid. I can't abandon her again. And then eventually they're all like, no, we're gonna stay and fight. And I was like, the whole point was for you all to get away.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Although it was very cool watching Carla use that ginormous gun out of the back of the VW.
I was definitely not expecting a minigun situation.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, because Sam and Scarlett, her name, Lena Heady and Karen Gillan. Initially, it's just Karen on her own, and she's fighting off some dudes, but she's like opening books to try to find stuff to fight with, and she's finding money and passports and gold. Like I said, rifling through these books to try to find weaponry, because the books are all, well, not all, but the bigger books are, stashes for guns and such. Yeah, she finds a knife. She fights a guy with a gold bar, and
that was pretty funny.
When things are getting dire, Lena Heady joins in. And then there's a whole busload of goons that come in. And then eventually Angela Bassett, Michelle Yeoh join in the fight. And
it was kind of brutal, like almost a little bit jarring for me when those like four guys are kicking her when she's down on the ground right before Lena Heady shows up. I was like, ooh. This has all been kind of cartoony violence, and this feels a little too real.
Yeah, they were definitely putting the boot to her. Well, even the three dudes in the bowling alley, but because it's dark, they hit her a few times with like crowbar and a bat and stuff.
Yeah, but it was also kind of amusing because she was fighting back with a suitcase.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed less brutal in that circumstance. But watching just like four dudes kick a woman when she's lying in the fetal position on the ground, I don't know. I just found it a bit jarring.
No, that's fair. But yeah, overall, I thought there was a good mix of some hand-to-hand and some good gunplay stuff with Karen Gillan and Lena Heady and the goons. And eventually, like, the Uber goon comes in and he's got like a sledgehammer kind of thing.
Yeah. Was intense.
Yeah, and he's, harder and tougher to take down, as it were.
He's the boss.
He's the boss goon. Well, he's not the boss goon, I guess. But yeah, he's the boss of this encounter because some of them split up to go to the Enchanted Forest, some split up to go to the Undersea, following Michelle Yeoh and Angela Bassett, and then a few guys go down to Carla Gugino, but she miniguns the heck out of a bunch of them.
Michelle uses a chain to hang a guy off the second floor.
Yeah, before the hanging though, I did enjoy like her choreo. Like she was messing some people up with that chain. Right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, if you have that actress, you better use her for something like that.
Oh sure, yeah. Like that's what was made. I was thinking I was meant to look it up, but I was trying to think of who did the choreography for the fights.
Oh, I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Sure, because like obviously, yeah, Michelle Yeoh, she's an accomplished martial artist, has been in tons of action movies, so she knows what she's doing and can probably come up with a lot of her own stuff if she needed to. Whereas, Karen Gillan, she's been in action movies, I know, but she does maybe not as accomplished. And same, I assume, with Lena Heady and Angela Bassett, but I could be wrong. But because it was weird.
She's been in a few action movies.
No, of course, I just meant like they're not as. I don't think they're well-known accomplished martial artists.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but because it was weird when Angela Bassett, they gave her two hammers to fight with. And which again kind of goes into your suddenly brutality because some of those hits, they were hitting pretty good and you could kind of feel a little viscerality from them, especially when she like hooks the one guy in the mouth.
Yeah. It was Laurent Deminoff.
All right.
I'm going to look up what else they've done.
Sure. Yeah, because I was just thinking, yeah, like Michelle Yeoh with the chain, I was like, she could have choreographed that herself, with some help, of course, but because she's quite the accomplished martial artist. And then, yeah, the hanging part was pretty, I was like, nice when she did that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but I was into it. Yeah. Okay, he's an actor.
Okay.
Stunts, I guess?
Well, I'll say, yeah, like it might be difficult for you to, like, does it list other films that this person's choreographed the stunt work on?
Warrior Nun.
Nice.
Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Mission Impossible Fallout.
Really? Nice. Okay.
He didn't do the choreography. He did stunts for that. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, because shouldn't there be a thing where it's like stunt choreography? Or maybe
it's all like in together.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But was a choreographer for Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly don't recognize the stuff he's done.
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, The Transporter, Refueled.
Nice.
Taken 3.
The best Taken.
Yeah, obviously. Lucy.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. Also Taken 2.
Okay, all right.
Columbiana.
Nice. I like Columbiana. That's a good one.
Yeah, I remember you saw that. I didn't see it, though. I'm bad.
No.
Oh, The Transporter 3. So yeah, he's done some cool stuff.
Yeah, no, because like I said, I enjoyed the martial arts or the hand-to-hand and the gunplay in this, and I thought it was all very effective and all looked pretty good. Yeah,
I agree. I thought it was really good too. Not to jump around too much, but I really enjoyed the diner scene towards the end of the movie too.
Yeah, which we're getting to. We're almost there.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, that's
keep
okay.
going.
Yeah, because I was gonna get to, like you said, Carla and the minigun, because it just seemed like odd for her to get shot by blind fire.
Yeah.
And in the heart, and then have a hand-to-hand fight. And I was like, okay, whoa. I mean, I get it. She's tough. She's got some protective instincts going on here, but this is a little out there. Shot in the shoulder, sure. Shot in the heart, like it's in her heart.
Well, it doesn't matter because she can put her cardigan over it, and then you don't even see it.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Because I really liked her with the tomahawk fighting that dude. That was good. That's good stuff.
Oh, it was cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so she unfortunately gets beaten, and Virgil is his name. He snatches the little girl. It was just so odd. Yeah, it cuts from that to them basically funeral burying Madeline is her name. And then, yeah, Karen Gillan makes the call, or gets the call. And she's like, hey, I'll trade myself for the little girl. We'll meet at the diner. You know, easy, square it off.
Yeah.
But then Russian guy is like, that's not good enough.
No, I want to make you suffer and have the little girl watch for some reason because I'm a dick.
Pretty much. But then there's the plan, the switcheroo, and then Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, Lena Heady are there, and they all got some big guns.
They dress up as the diner waitresses, they got big guns, and then they just go on the greatest murder spree ever.
Set to what era pop song would you say that was?
I don't even, like, you know how I always am like, oh my god, I hate it when they do like fight choreography to a pop song because it looks like they're just making a clip for YouTube.
Yes.
Didn't care in this movie. It was way too fun.
That's fair. Yeah, I thought it went a little far with it because they do like a la Face Off. Carla gives the little girl some headphones and they're playing a song while the the big fights and shootouts are going on. So they did it a few times.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I think it worked in the diner scene.
It works well in the diner scene, especially since you had that like slow pan across the diner.
Yeah, because the whole thing takes place in slow motion, going from like left to right, and you just follow all the action essentially. And I liked how all the goons were carrying a weapon of some sort, but not like a gun. So they're all taking out like hammers or knives or whatever, and they're trying to get something in edgewise, but they're just getting blown up.
So they're just getting their faces and dicks blown off. So good. It's so satisfying to watch. And I've noticed that scene ends up being like very like Michelle centered, which is cool too. Because like, why wouldn't you? But I just want a movie. I want her to have a movie that she just kills people.
Well, do you remember when she was in the James Bond? I think it was Tomorrow Never Dies. She was in.
Was she really?
Yeah, and there was talk of doing a spin-off with her.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
The one with the media guy, and he's trying to start a war between Britain and China.
Which actor?
I don't know his name, but he's like British guy. He wears glasses.
It wasn't Pierce Brosnan, was it?
Oh, you mean for Bond? Yeah, no, it was Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, okay. But it wasn't the one where they end up in an ice palace.
No, that's Die Another Day.
Okay. Well, you can see how I could get those confused, right?
Yes.
Tomorrow Never Dies Another Day.
Yeah. But anyways, there was talk of doing a spin-off with her, which that could have totally worked as well.
Why didn't they do that? That would have been great.
I don't know. It's Hollywood.
Misogyny. No.
Yeah. But here was one of my problems, and this is what I was getting back to with the two storyline thing, because she has a confrontation with the Russian guy, blah blah blah. But she never, our protagonist Sam, doesn't take down like the head not the head honcho, but like the head villain antagonist guy, Virgil. Michelle Yeoh just shoots him like 6 times in the back.
Yeah, I guess maybe like that was. This is a stretch, but maybe that was Gillian Anderson's arc. No, wait, what's her name? Karen Anderson? Karen Gillan?
Yeah. She gets the girl and they leave, and then the massacre happens. Cool. I don't know. It was, like I said, just because of the way the two storylines were built, it just felt odd because we don't get that like yeah, but we do get that yeah.
Do you think that Gillian Anderson could have been in this movie though?
Of course, she could have been in this movie. She could have been one of the librarians easily.
She should be in the sequel.
I was just about to follow that up. I would say, yep, cast her in the sequel.
We need to start a petition. Yeah. Sorry, I'm easily distracted today.
No, that's fine. And then, you get the coda scene where they threaten Paul Giamatti, basically saying, hey, if you come after us, we will murder you. Let us go. And then they all drive into the sunset.
They drive to Mexico.
Sure.
I just decided they were going to Mexico.
It's quite possible, yeah. They were going somewhere sunny.
Well, they were all kind of dressed for like beach weather.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe New Mexico.
Yeah, and it was just like you said, it was a satisfying like action ending kind of thing, but it's also weird to end this movie on a crazy massacre like that.
Yeah, but I feel like that's maybe a little bit of the editing's fault because it just adds to the clunkiness.
Right.
But it was a great scene and really fun to watch. It's just the editing between shots. Like once you're in the scene, it's good. Right. But between the scenes, it felt there was, I don't know, I wish I could explain why I feel this way, but I cannot.
No, that's fair. I mean, that's part of movies, and they make you feel things. And so it's just like you said, it just like for me with Angela Bassett's performance, I didn't feel it, and you're not feeling the editing.
That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, the movie kind of just ends, like I said, on that note where they're driving into the sunset. It's our whole crew, minus of course Madeline, because unfortunately she died in the movie. And then yeah, that's the end. Gunpowder Milkshake, blam, vaporwave credits. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I do feel like it was John Wick fan fiction, or somebody went into a boardroom and said, "What if John Wick but girl?"
Well, and here was something I wanted to talk a bit about. I have some other notes, but because like you were saying, like you didn't see Colombiana, I did, but it's like John Wick is kind of almost the revival of the 80s, 90s simple action movie. And now that, more women are getting more roles in movies like this, at least then, but it's like they're emerging into this period now where scripts are more complex and stories have to be like bigger or weirder than just like simple like Death Wish or Die Hard or Commando even. Like Commando is the most like simple, just like guy murdering a whole bunch of people movie, right? Like,
yeah.
And so it's like, if you tried to make that movie with a woman, people would be like, well, there's not enough going on in this script. And because I didn't watch Peppermint, like we talked about maybe watching it, but I know it's like her family or some of her family gets killed and she goes Death Wish on the people. And I'm like, cool. I don't know. So it just seems like it's almost not their fault, but it's like, I don't know. Do you feel what I'm saying? Like where it's just like this era of now there is better writing and everything, but then it's like you can't make a simple movie anymore.
I get what you're saying, and I agree, but I don't think it has anything to do with what I'm saying about it being like John Wick fan fiction. Right. Because I feel like not just like the concept of an assassin, but stylistically, this movie, not so much the first John Wick, but John Wick 2 and 3, it really kind of follows in those footsteps. Even when you look at the costuming of like the librarians, it's very similar to the costuming of the like telephone operators in John Wick 2 and 3.
Oh yeah, like I'm totally agreeing with you, like with the whole world building elements of this movie, that it's definitely following in that pattern.
Yeah, like I think like yeah, and the way it's shot and the lighting and all that, it's just very reminiscent of John Wick movies. And yeah, it doesn't feel like it's not that the story is complicated or the writing is bad, but it does feel like beginning, middle, and end of their core concept is just John Wick but girl.
Fair enough.
Like, it doesn't feel like there is somebody that, I hope I'm explaining this right. It doesn't feel like somebody came up with an idea of like, what if there was a female assassin and she came across a little girl and she doesn't know what to do and she wants to like help the girl out, and then like a story was built that way. It feels more like John Wick but girl. How do we make this work?
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking about movies or action movies in a larger sense. Like I'm thinking, like you said, of Colombiana and Salt, and these kind of movies where it's like it's like a female action movie, but then it's like there has to be like this big complex thing going on, especially like in Salt, right? There's like Russian assassin thing and presidential threats and etc. Where it's not just like, hey, like you said, it's this one's simple in that way, and it's not, and not in a bad way. Like I enjoyed this movie a lot. It's just Karen Gillan, she's an assassin, she's gonna go beat up on people. Cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I just was thinking about like it in a whole, where it's like when I typed into Netflix, like there was a whole bunch of movies, but it always seems like there's there's some kind of big larger thing going on, and maybe that's of course because of Jason Bourne's like influence.
Oh, probably a bit. Probably like I do think that like Hollywood in general has issues with like female action stars. Like,
well, of course, like 80s and 90s, there was zero of them, right?
Yeah, but I think like there is a little bit of a like, well, we can't just have a female action star. She has to have a reason. You know? Like even in like Black Widow a bit, right? Even though she's like an assassin trained from birth, they're like, yeah, but she does need a softer side as well. Have you ever seen the SNL skit that they made like long before the Black Widow movie came out, where it's like a rom-com?
No, I haven't seen that.
It's pretty great. She works for like a fashion company and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
But then like judo throws people or something?
No, not even. Like they got Scarlett Johansson for it too, but it's just like it's like a boilerplate like mid 2000s rom-com, but just with Black Widow as the main character.
Right.
And her roommates are like flamboyant versions of the Avengers.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I was just kind of wanted to highlight some of these movies that maybe someone hasn't seen, because it's like, I don't know. I think Salt's very enjoyable. Colombiana is really good, like you said. When I was typing in Netflix, that was like there was some Noomi Rapace movie where it's like, again, there was one with Jessica Chastain called like Eva, I think it was, and they're like, she's an assassin, and got to do some assassin stuff, but it was something to do with a family as well, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, can't you just do some assassin stuff?
What was that movie? We saw it a long time ago, Dan. I think there's a TV show now.
Mm-hmm. Hannah, I was thinking of.
Which one?
Hannah? Is that the one?
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one as well. But that was more of a child/teenager.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the show. I've been always meaning to watch it.
I also haven't seen it because I have to just rewatch Drag Race over and over again.
And She-Ra.
And She-Ra. Oh yeah, it has been about 6 months since I've watched She-Ra, so yeah. Excuse me while I go cry.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get into season 3. I did want to mention, so apparently this film was filmed in Berlin. And
oh, cool.
I was looking into this because I was pretty sure that this movie was meant to have a theatrical release. Because I remember seeing a poster for it when I went and saw Tenet. Like, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing a poster for this.
You know what? I remember seeing trailers for it pre-pandemic.
Right.
And maybe it just got shuffled to Netflix
yeah, or I was to say I wasn't sure if I was remembering correctly, but because from the Wikipedia. So in February of 2020, there was a company called STX Films, had the film distribution rights for the United States, but then they were sold in April of 2021 to Netflix. But this movie was still limited released in theaters, and it's going to be released in theaters in Europe.
Okay, so it's going to have a European release?
Yeah, it's going to have a bigger European release than an American release.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, again, not a large budget, 30 million. I assume that Netflix could have bought it for, I don't know, 50, and the studio probably would have been like, sure, maybe 60. You know, I don't know how low they would go on the price point, but they were like, yeah, make the money back, and then they're working on a sequel.
Cool.
Because I could see the strategy, because if the movie does well on Netflix and there's a lot of buzz and like we enjoyed it, like you said, and people talk about it, that when they release a sequel, if they can do it theatrically, people will go, right?
Oh, totally.
Because like that's what, to bring it back to John Wick, like you said, John Wick 1, like we talked about in our episode about it, it was kind of like not bigly received, but the second one did like bank, right?
Oh yeah, if they make a fourth one, you know I'll be going to see it in the theater.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Oh, that would be great. I would love to see it.
Yeah.
They're making a fourth Matrix movie.
Yeah, I know they are.
That didn't come out yet, right? I didn't miss that.
No, I'm pretty sure that because obviously production was delayed because of COVID, and I think the shoot had to be delayed at some point. It got shut down for COVID concerns at one point, so it's been a long process.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering if it just came out and I didn't notice.
I mean, it's possible.
I'm semi-dialed in to movies anyways, yeah. Nothing else.
No, I just mean like because of everything. Yeah, like it's like I don't even know. You're just like, oh, movies are coming out. Like, like I didn't realize that the new Candyman, because I want to see it. It's coming out like in 2 weeks or something like that. Like, it's coming out in August, which is like the weirdest release date.
Yeah, and like Suicide Squad comes out this week too, right?
Yeah, it comes out today as we record.
Excellent. I don't want to give spoilers, but we'll probably do an episode on it.
Definitely talking about it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any other notes to hit on about Gunpowder Milkshake. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, it's enjoyable fan fiction. I enjoyed the style of it because I enjoyed John Wick.
Okay, fair. There was one thing I wanted to talk about, sorry, that I forgot to mention. Do you remember, like we talked about the flashback sequence with the little girl or the teenager? And the framing of it seemed really weird to me because the girl, she's framed super far left, but then the cut shots to Lena Heady are center frame, like on her face. So like it just didn't match. Like it was just really weird to me. I don't know. Again, one of those editing things, like you're saying, just seemed odd.
Okay, I actually have a theory about this.
That they were shot on different days? Because I could see that.
Oh no, my theory was that the actress they got to play young Sam only looks like Karen Gillan from certain angles.
Ah, it's quite possible.
And so they wanted to highlight the most similar angles.
That left side of her face, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what they were doing. Because sometimes it looks just like her.
Yeah.
But not all the time.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's like, obviously, when you're creating your shots and, you know, you want to emphasize some things and, you know, she's leaning forward like she wants to get into the world. I could kind of get that, but then the shot wasn't pulled back enough for us to, like, get that milkshake in there to represent the two worlds. And it, I don't know, just like it just wasn't. And then when you cut to someone else's face and they're straight on to the camera, and cut to someone else and they're far left of camera, it just seemed weird to me.
Yeah, it's because she only looks like her from one angle.
All right,
it's like in Ed Wood, they have the dentist that looks just like Bela Lugosi's forehead, so they just have him cover up his.
All right, fair enough.
That's what I think happened.
Okay. I don't know. It was something I forgot that I wanted to highlight because I wrote it down and I was just kind of like, it was weird. And again, I'm not the most technical filmmaker, of course. I'm trying to learn more about it, but it seemed odd to me.
You know what we didn't talk about?
What?
Paul Giamatti.
Sure. Well, we mentioned him briefly.
I am okay. Are you ready for this?
Okay, hot take, Paul Giamatti. Here we go.
I like Paul Giamatti, but I feel like he is the exact same character in every movie. Like, if you switched out the character he was playing in this with the character he played in Sideways, it wouldn't really change that much.
Fair enough. I mean, it's obviously to the direction and the writing too. They want that annoyed guy.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with Paul Giamatti. I enjoy him, but he's kind of like an actor that, like, okay, here's a better way of saying it. He's always Paul Giamatti.
Sure.
Whereas, like, you know, you get actors like I don't know, like Kate Blanchett. And when you're watching Elizabeth, she is Elizabeth. When you're watching the Bob Dylan movie, she is Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
But regardless of what you watch Paul Giamatti in, he is Paul Giamatti.
I kind of feel the same way about like Leo.
Leonardo, like you feel like he's always Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I mean, no, he's a great actor, but I don't know, like so many of his, maybe in the last few roles or whatever, I'm just like, it's Leo being Leo.
See, I disagree because I don't think that, like, if you took the character he plays in, what was it, Quentin Tarantino movie we saw?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Rick Dalton in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, if you took that character and you put it in Titanic, doesn't make sense. Same with if you put Jack from Titanic in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It doesn't make sense. But I feel like all of Paul Giamatti's characters are interchangeable.
Right. And maybe I'm misstating in that all I see is Leo.
Oh, that's fair. But he's like an icon.
Yeah.
It's like Cher. If Cher is in anything, she's Cher.
Yeah. And like you said, yes, because I do think Leo's a great actor, but it's like I see Leo. And that's kind of, yeah.
But there's a lot of like nuance and difference between even like who he is in Flippity Floppity Dreamland. What's it called?
I assume you mean Inception.
Yeah. There's a reason people don't ask me to name movies.
Yeah.
And like The Revenant, like those characters aren't interchangeable.
No, I'm not saying the characters, like the acting and etc. I just mean like, yeah, like you were saying, I think the icon, that's kind of where I was going with that, where it's like, I see the icon.
That's fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas you're saying Paul Giamatti, he's Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what he's in. He's always great. It's always entertaining. But I'm like, hey, Paul Giamatti's in this movie. Like the character doesn't exist, only the actor.
Yeah. It's because he just embodies him so well that he is the man.
I kind of feel that way about Stanley Tucci too. I feel like the Tucci, you could just like change his characters. Like you could take who he was in Devil Wears Prada and switch it with who he was in The Hunger Games, and it doesn't really make that much of a difference.
You're still like, you're doing a great job, Tooch.
Like there's the Tooch, yeah.
Gotta have the touch of the Tooch.
Obviously. I don't know, that might just mean that they pick roles that have similar temperaments.
Sure.
I'm interpreting it as like, I just see Paul Giamatti.
Yeah. Well, and like I assume casting agents are like, hey, we need a Paul Giamatti type. Do you think we can get Paul Giamatti? Then, if he says yes, they're like, perfect. We got the man.
They're like, we can't get Giamatti, but we've got the Tooch on standby.
Yeah. And, I assume like any writing, they imagine certain actors when they're writing a role, or, directors, you always hear those stories. They're like, I want this person to be in the movie. And luckily I got them. Otherwise, they're like, I don't know who it was good to go to. Right.
I was actually watching, do you ever watch The Movies That Made Us on Netflix?
No, but I'm assuming it's very similar to the Toys That Made Us show.
Yes, but about movies.
Yeah.
They just had a new season come out, and I watched all. I should have said that in the things I like. Oops, I forgot.
That's all right. We can talk about it now.
Yeah, I'll just talk about it whenever. But they did the last season was 4 episodes, and it was Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, Forrest Gump, and Pretty Woman.
Okay, yeah. Classic icon movie stuff right there.
Oh, totally. And I was watching I've seen all of them, but I was watching the Back to the Future one last night. And this is interesting because the writers were like, this has got to be Michael J. Fox. They just wanted him from like the get-go.
Weird, because then they cast Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, because the producer wanted Eric Stoltz.
Really?
And so because Michael J. Fox was working on Family Ties, they didn't want to wait till he was done filming that because they were on a really tight timeline.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember hearing that, yeah.
So they got Eric Stoltz, and Eric Stoltz read the script and interpreted it as a tragedy, basically.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's like he was playing it like it's a horror.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it just wasn't working, and so they got Michael J. Fox, and then he would like film Family Ties during the day, film Back to the Future at night, and like sleep in between.
Yeah.
Like sets.
My favorite part about that, I don't know if they went into it, is that Christopher Lloyd knew that they were firing Eric Stoltz for like 2 weeks, and they would film maybe not 2 weeks, but for a time. So they would film his shots, and then they'd be like, "Oh, don't you need a reverse of like Marty?" And they'd be like, "No, that's fine."
Oh, I didn't hear that. That's hilarious.
No, they didn't talk about that. Yeah, so there was a period of time, yeah, they were filming like Christopher Lloyd stuff with Stoltz, but not like doing the reverses, and he was like, "What's going on?" kind of thing.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting. I enjoyed it a lot. The Pretty Woman episode is kind of hilarious because like it was Gary Marshall's first movie.
Oh, really?
Like all he had really done before that, or it was his first romantic comedy.
Right.
And most of his experience had just been with like Happy Days. Yeah. So he would like film every shot 3 different ways because he didn't know what the movie was going to be yet. They'd film like a comedic take, they'd do like a serious take, and then they would do a take where he was just like, you guys just do what you want.
Nice. That's actually kind of brilliant, but man, that must have cost a lot.
Yeah, they ended up like, they just ended up at the end, like they had to cobble the movie together, basically.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like that could kind of work well because you're like, oh, this scene actually works well comedic, and this scene works better like being a little more dramatic or whatever.
Oh, totally. But yeah, it was more like he just didn't know which direction that he wanted to go.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, because I guess like many rom-coms, like we've talked about, especially from that era, it's like it's not hard to turn them into some kind of creep show.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
The Forrest Gump one was pretty good too. I didn't realize that the director and Tom Hanks had taken a huge pay cut, basically, to get the movie made.
From what I recall, I know that Hanks and Zemeckis, they were like championing it essentially because they bought the rights to it and were just like, we're making this movie kind of a thing. But I also didn't know they took a large pay cut. I assume there was back end deals to like box office and etc. though for them.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, they took pay cuts enough to bring it down like $10 million, the budget.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even like because I was into that podcast about like Cloud Atlas, Hanks basically like he became interested in the project and helped the Wachowskis gather the money together because they were like, well, Hanks is involved in the project now, and so it's like blammo.
That's cool. I guess when you're Tom Hanks, you can just do what you want at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you got the juice, and people are like, well, Hanks is involved. Okay, let's make this movie, right?
Totally.
You know, people will see it for Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's fair. He's a good, cool dude. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess, should we wrap things up, or is there more?
No, I think I sort of spoke quite a bit and talked a lot through my notes. And yeah, I think, like you said at the end as well, I enjoyed it and would watch I enjoyed the time. I'd watch a sequel, and it was fun to see that cast. I mean, that I enjoy Karen Gillan in those roles. I'm a fan of her as Nebula, of course. So, yeah.
She's just signing up for like the best franchises right now, hey?
I mean, I guess if your agent's giving you the good stuff, yeah.
Like Doctor Who, great franchise to be attached to.
Sure.
Marvel, good work.
Yeah.
Gunpowder, great. Jumanji, she's probably doing okay financially.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to make another one of those Jumanjis because The Rock moved over to the Jungle Cruise, which is very similar. But who knows? I mean, obviously everything was kind of up in the air with the pandemic, so.
Didn't I have an excellent idea for Jumanji 3? I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. You'd have to re-listen to our Jumanji episode.
They should hire me to write it. Clearly, I have great ideas. Okay, let's wrap it up.
Sure.
Thank you so much for listening. If you would like to support us, you can rate and review us on whatever, or you can visit our website, tomeofuselessness.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at tomeofuselessness, or you can email us with your suggestions or love letters or fan fiction. tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. And that's it, because we don't have anything else like a Patreon. But you know what? If you know what we look like and you know where we hang out, you could drop $20 on the ground and then I could pick it up.
Just accidentally happens.
Yeah. It's called tipping, Dan.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Stay safe and thanks for listening.
Bye.